This movie, I say, is about the mysteries of darkness and love. It's a disturbing thing because it's a trip beneath a beautiful surface, but to a fairly uneasy interior of a small town.
We're back on the Scare Valley podcast for David Lynch month.
What month is that?
April?
No, it's David Lynch month.
Oh.
You just told me that, you fool.
April, because it was the next available month.
What month is it now?
When we're recording this?
Yes.
March. We're not that far ahead on this one.
Ooh, I like it. We're almost in real time.
Almost.
Real time.
With Bill Maher?
No.
Start the clock.
With Pete and Bryan. Turn off the clock. Then turn down the lights. Oh, yeah. So what are we doing?
Blue Velvet?
Blue Velvet. I saw that movie. I watched the shit out of it.
First time watch for you.
Yes.
And I think it's a classic, so I was interested to get you to watch it for the first time.
This is possibly the third David Lynch movie, for anyone keeping track, that I have seen.
Dune?
Possibly. That one's questionable.
No, you've definitely seen Dune.
I've definitely seen it, but I don't remember. But did I? No, I've watched it, Brian. But did I see it?
Oh.
Did I see it?
Deep Thoughts with Pete.
Yeah. It's early in the morning. Almost on time.
It is early in the morning.
But I did watch Blue Velvet. And so like that little thing you played at the beginning, that's kind of his deal, right? Because that's very Twin Peaksy. Like there's this nice like 1960s cookie cutter kind of like, oh, isn't everything happy here in Lumberton?
Feels 50s.
Whatever. I don't know how to tell time.
He
Shut
loves
up.
the 50s.
Does he? Why
Yeah.
doesn't he marry it?
Well, he's dead now. Which is why we're having David Lynch month.
All right.
And yeah, you're right. And we watched Eraserhead, and I told
Yes.
you it's not going to be like his other movies. And
Right.
this is really where you start seeing the David Lynch we all know going forward, because he makes Eraserhead, completely experimental, weird shit.
And that was his first one.
Yep.
Which was weird.
And he gets some Elephant Man, which is strange because it's a studio picture, but Mel Brooks is like, this is the guy.
I love that story so much.
Critically acclaimed movie, 8 Oscar nominations, and it gets him Dune, which is his biggest commercial and critical flop. And that brings him to Blue Velvet, which really becomes what you think of when you think of David Lynch. This is like a proto Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I was kind of getting... Cause,
You could even see Jeffrey Beaumont as Dale Cooper. It's the same actor, and you could see this being the first investigation of a young Dale Cooper, except he's not at all intuitive.
No.
In fact, he's fairly fucking stupid in this movie.
Who, Kyle MacLachlan?
Yeah.
I like the cast a lot in this movie,
Great.
by the way.
Great.
They're incredible.
Yep.
Like an incredible cast. So you said this is a classic for you?
This is a classic for everybody, because this is really the beginnings of the David Lynch that people, I think, love. I mean, people love Eraserhead, people love Elephant Man. I love Dune. Well, some people do too. But this is the stuff that David Lynch is going to be concentrating most of his career on from this point on.
It's the idea of like a hidden evil beneath a normal or an idyllic surface kind of thing?
Yeah, your world is shit, and he's going to show you that it's shit.
But, okay.
But in a nice way.
Yeah, okay. Knowing just the little bit that I know about his other movies
Yeah.
coming up, like Lost Highway and the other ones.
That's more of a film noir,
Okay.
but also with these weird David Lynch. This movie has the least of the weird David Lynch stuff, really.
Yeah, it's a very straightforward. It really, really felt like a Twin Peaks. I've seen most of I saw season 1 and part of season 2. So
This is the
end of
most
season
direct
2.
line to Twin Peaks you're going to have.
Okay, because it definitely feels like it. And what year did this come out?
86.
86,
The best year.
And then 90 or so was
91, yeah.
when Twin Peaks came out. Okay, all right, I see it. What was in between?
Wild at Heart.
Ooh, that's a Nicolas Cage vehicle.
That is.
And Laura Dern.
And Lord Dern. Yeah, she
was
worked
just-
with him all the time.
She was just in this movie. She was also very good.
She was very young in this movie, too. I think she was 18 when they shot it.
She was a senior in high school, according to the movie.
So they cast it correctly.
That doesn't happen very often.
No.
Kyle MacLachlan was a freshman in college.
Yeah, I think he's a little older than that, but not that much.
Not according to the movie.
It's true.
I paid attention to this movie.
How old was everybody in this movie? How old was Jack Nance looking nothing like his character in Eraserhead?
Who was Jack Nance? I couldn't find him.
He's one of the guys that's in the car. Like on one side of him is Brad Dourif when Jeffrey Beaumont's in the backseat. The other side
They were
is Jack
the
Nance.
bad guys.
Yeah. Except he looks nothing
I
like
couldn't
he's going
find
to
him
look.
because I saw that his name was there, and I'm like, oh, that's the guy from Eraserhead. And since there's only like 2 people in Eraserhead, I figured I could figure this out. I couldn't.
He's just there. He's in all of Lynch's movies up through Lost Highway.
Okay. What is I mean, is he an actor or is he just a David Lynch friend?
He was an actor.
Oh, okay. Was?
Oh, he died. I told this story already on the Eraserhead podcast.
I forgot.
Oh, no, I didn't. I told the story about how his wife killed herself.
I don't remember that.
He went and got donuts one day, showed back up, and friends looked at him, and he was all beaten up, and he's like, oh, I got into a scuffle. And then he just died of like a brain hemorrhage in like 1996.
What?
Nobody knows. Nobody. It's one of those unsolved things. Nobody knows.
Holy shit.
Yeah, nobody knows who killed him or what happened to him.
Is everyone else okay who works with David Lynch? Or did they all have weird...
Well, actually, since Twin Peaks: The Return came out, a shockingly high number of that cast has passed away since 2017.
Oh, my God.
I mean, some of it is Harry Dean Stanton being 90. That's not surprising. Peggy Lipton died.
Who's Peggy Lipton?
She was the
Soup lady?
She was Norma, the ran the R&R diner in Twin Peaks.
Oh, okay.
And Piper Laurie died, and the guy that played the other FBI agent, whose name I can never remember, but he was a really good actor, he died.
Miguel...
Yes, Ferreira.
Yes, thank you.
So there's
He's
like
dead?
a bunch more, tons of people. He died before Twin Peaks came out, even.
How did they use him then? Was it
Not
AI?
before it was shot.
I thought AI was that advanced even back then.
I don't think David Lynch was going to be using AI.
What are you talking about?
It doesn't seem to be his...
Seems like... No, I guess not. You can't really walk into a room and look at it and go, AI, what should I do here?
No, you can't. So we talked before about how Dune, I like Dune. I think you like Dune.
From what I recall.
It's a complete flop for him, and it really drives him away from the studio system. As much as the studios don't want to use him after the Dune flop, he's like, I'm not ever doing that again. I need creative control. He gets it for every other movie he ever does because he's kind of now scraping up movies with independent people. But this is the beginning of that part of the career, which I think is the best part of the career.
Were any of his movies bigger budget, or was it all kind of
Just Dune.
Just Dune?
I mean,
That was
Elephant
it?
Man had some money for the time.
But those were early ones. Everything after that, he's just like, I am retaining creative control, and I'm just not going to take your money for it.
No, he was lucky because he could get stars like Nicolas Cage to come be in his movies because he's David Lynch. And they love Blue Velvet. Like that's kind of, or Eraserhead. I'm sure he was an Eraserhead guy.
Yeah,
But
he probably would be.
I'm sure he was.
Well, yeah, okay.
I was thinking about Eraserhead because this is what happens when you watch these David Lynch movies. You find yourself thinking about the meaning of things. And we were talking about how the baby looks like a sperm.
It is it's not a
Spermazoa.
baby. It's just a big sperm.
But then I thought
premature sperm.
I was thinking about why that is or why that would be. And of course, there's no reason. There is a reason, I'm sure, but there's no point. I'm sure there's a point, but there's nothing we're supposed to know.
It was the end of his little tail.
Well, I considered it, and I thought, well, the sperm comes from the man, and this is his nightmare of a thing that comes from him, so it looks like the thing that comes from him.
Why is it a nightmare of...
Because the movie's a nightmare, Pete,
No, it's not.
about the fear of
What?
having a child. But he doesn't have a child. He has a sperm he has to raise.
Right.
Because he's not considering good parts that come from somebody else. He's thinking of himself and what he would create, and it's horrifying.
Got to disagree with you there.
Okay, then if you disagree, you have to have a separate point.
I think it was some weird love story between him and the radiator. Like, I'm not 100% convinced that it's not. I don't know. I guess I could buy it because you've given me the background that he was a new father, Lynch, and he had all these fears and things. But I was a new father once. I didn't have any fear of a giant sperm baby. Like, I didn't think, imagine though, if that's how big your sperm was. Every time it just came out, that just one plop.
This is entertaining to you.
And then what?
And then a lady in a radiator steps on it.
And then a lady in a radiator steps on it. Yeah.
For Blue Velvet, he brings back Kyle MacLachlan, who starred in Dune.
Oh yeah, this is after Dune. I'm with you.
I'm
catching
we spent the first 10 minutes establishing exactly and only that.
And now I'm here. I'm with you. Good job.
This is the first time he works with Laura Dern. It's the first time he works with his soon-to-be girlfriend, Isabella Rossellini.
Oh.
And Dennis Hopper as Frank Booth,
Good old Dennis Hopper.
Scare Value Award nominee.
Star of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
And Brad Dourif's there. And
Good old Brad Dourif.
Dean Stockwell and Eraserhead himself, Jack Nance.
Where? What has Brad Dourif done lately? I remember he was really big for a hot minute.
I believe he retired from regular acting. He's just been voicing Chucky, although he does appear as Charles Lee Ray in the last series of Chucky.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is very cool. It's actually very cool.
That's right. That's where I knew him. I like the gang. All right. So what was this movie about, Brian?
You've already. This is the easiest one to get of all of them. You already said it in the opening. It's about the darkness under this picturesque Americana town.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's no second thing.
Okay.
This is the most straightforward Lynchian kind of movie because all the weird stuff he puts in there are not surrealist stuff, but it's stuff like Dean Stockwell singing into a handheld light, singing "In Dreams" by Roy Orbison, and it's Frank hitting his chemicals and sucking them in his nose. It's like it's all weird stuff that is like, why is the character doing that? But it's not weird stuff like Eraserhead weird.
Well, the entire movie, if I'm not, it started off as like a bug invasion kind of thing.
No,
like,
it's not an invasion. He purposely pans down beneath the surface to show you the.
I'm sorry. The movie starts.
Invading.
The movie starts with Kyle MacLachlan's dad getting stung on the back of the neck or something while he's out cutting the grass, and he like falls over all paralyzed.
Was he stung? I thought he just had like a stroke or whatever.
Look, he slapped his hand to the back of his neck.
How many strokes you had?
When I'm trying to get my giant baby sperm out, it takes a few. I mean, you got to kind of like massage it out. When an anaconda eats like a whole person and you can see the big lump, that's kind of what it's like. But anyway, the bug attacked his neck and he fell over, and then he had to talk through a hole in his. I think it burrowed straight through and came out the front of him.
None of this
because
happened.
when Kyle MacLachlan goes to the hospital and he talks to his dad now has a hole in his throat and he's got to talk through that. Am I right?
Everything's right in a David Lynch movie.
Yes.
Even though there was no bug.
The bug attacked him because then it cuts to the bug that cut off the guy's ear when Kyle MacLachlan's walking home from
talking. Bug didn't cut off the guy's ear. Frank Booth cut off the guy's
That's
ear.
what they wanted you to think. Because he had these giant pinchers, the pincher bugs. And he did go underneath the earth to show us the bugs. You can say that it was showing us the underneath, but then it went completely away from it.
Telling you that these movies can be interpreted however you want has given you too much power.
Follow me, though, because this is what I took. I really seriously thought, oh, this is a bug attack kind of movie. This is the underbelly. And I do think the bugs were controlling the actions, and they had driven away all the birds, which I'm in favor of because I like birds. So when it turns out at the end, the bird shows up, and it's got the bug, and it's destroying it and eating it, that was what I was waiting for. That has given me a beginning and an ending.
Oh, no, this is the one that you find you can do the acts on.
Everything else that happened is typical David Lynch kind of nut. It's actually a misdirect. This stuff is probably happening because of the bugs. Maybe they're controlling the people or something. I'd have to watch it again to figure it out. But I really thought that was just something at the beginning until they brought it back at the end. When that Robin shows up and everyone comes into the kitchen, the old lady and Laura Dern, like, come, Kyle MacLachlan, look upon the bird. And he's defeating the evil that has plagued our village. Our village of Lumberton, our idyllic community here in Lumberville. That's what I took away from that movie.
I'm impressed you remembered Lumberton with no notes, but it's in such a shit sandwich of nonsense you've created. I don't know what to do with it. Do you remember?
I don't think I'm wrong. This is what I watched.
Do you remember the point of the robins?
That they were good and the bugs drove them away. And without any robins around, the bugs were doing evil. I don't know I didn't really think too much further into it, but birds good, bugs bad.
Laura Dern's character, Sandy, talks about the dream she had about robins. How they'd all gone away. When they come back, things will be good.
It's called Winter.
So is this a happy ending?
Yes.
As happy as he gets? Now, there's a thing about that robin at the end.
It's a robot? Yeah.
That's the thing. So that's not on accident. You can film a fucking bird. Is he saying that this happiness is fake and manufactured?
No, he just knows that birds aren't real. Birds are all CIA things that spy on us and their computer chips.
It's amazing we got through Eraserhead without problems, but I can't even discuss Blue Velvet with you.
Eraserhead was a very straightforward story. It was about a guy and his giant sperm baby, and he liked to masturbate into radiators to a chipmunk face girl. That was what that movie was about. This one was a bunch of stuff. It was a bunch of cool stuff happening in between. Like, I don't know how the bugs fit into it.
No, do you know why you don't know how the bugs fit into it, Pete?
Why?
Because it's not a part of it.
That's not what you told me. You said nothing is wrong in a David Lynch movie.
Except this one. I was mistaken.
I distinctly remember last week. Why did he put it at the beginning and the end? He led off with a bug attack that chewed through a man's throat, and then it ended with the birds that Laura Dern talked about coming back and defeating them. And okay, I'll buy. See, I just assumed that it was fake, because how are you going to get a real bird to sit there chewing on one of those beetles that could bite your ear off?
You're done now.
You can't do it with the real bird, Brian. Well, all right, then what do you think it's about?
I just want the listener to know we're doing 3 of these today. This is the first one. This is the first 15 minutes of the first one, and he has dive bombed this thing out of control.
I don't think I'm wrong. I am actually a little upset that I thought that this was a safe zone. David Lynch allows you to interpret things, and I don't think I'm wrong.
This was my fault.
There was a bug invasion.
This was my fault.
Anybody
I'm really afraid of the next 3 movies we do.
Anybody who has not watched this movie, watch it and look for the bugs, and look for like bug symbology throughout, because I didn't do that. You know why I didn't do that?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Back up a second. You understand metaphor and symbol, and yet you're taking it at face value and then telling them to look for the symbol.
Well, this is because they give it to you at the beginning and then hide it in all like the townspeople and their evilness that the bugs have started like teaching them to do. I don't know how they take. Maybe when they cut off your ear, they can whisper into it, and they like that's how they tell you how to do bad things.
Isn't this the plot of Star Trek 2?
I don't remember Star. Is that the Wrath of Khan?
Yeah. They have those worms that burrow into Chekhov's ear, and then they can mind control them.
It sounds pretty solid. I mean, that might have been just a ripoff then. Is Lynch a big Star Trek fan?
Is David Lynch a big Star Trek fan?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he was asked to direct or talked about directing Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Ooh, that's a Star Wars.
He said he had zero interest in doing it.
Man, that would have been a good movie, though.
I cannot imagine that the conversation went much further than George Lucas showing him things and him going, I'm going to leave now.
Well, I like this Ewok, but you know what would look better?
I'd love to see David Lynch's Return of the Jedi. He liked the Wookiee. That's the one thing he said.
Then the Ewoks are going to blow his mind.
Well, he would have seen the Ewoks. I think when he said he liked the Wookiee, I think he was talking about the Ewoks. Because I think he just knows that little about Star Wars.
Do you think that if he had directed it, at one point, a Wookiee would have been wearing a trench coat, and he takes it off, and it's 3 Ewoks standing on each other's shoulders to pretend that they're a Wookiee? Because that's what I would have done.
Yes.
All right, so anyway.
See, I was going to go through the movie, but I'm afraid that every time I pause, you're going to throw in something that's what the bugs were up to, or that's where the bug got in. Oh, the window was open in her apartment. That's how they got in there. Which, this is fucked up because now I'm going to give you more fuel for this. But when you get to Twin Peaks: The Return, there's a very famous, important part in the best episode of that where a frog-like bug creature crawls into a girl's mouth, and I think it's about the spread of evil and how it gets to. So I'm not happy at this moment that I shared that or remembered it.
Interesting, and Blue Velvet is the most like Twin Peaks. So see, he's run with the theme. But anyway, let's talk about the stuff that was because the bug stuff only happened at the beginning and the end, and I really thought that they just forgot about it. I'm like, what a weird swerve that he never comes back to touch on the bug stuff, but he did. Like the very end, that's the last scene is that stupid Robin looking at us. But you say it's a machine.
Well, you agreed it was.
Yeah, it was
phony. Which I'm wondering if that in itself is a comment on the happiness they're finding at the end.
That is phony?
Yes.
It could be.
That's the point. Now, this is the most you can debate it point you got. I don't know that we can debate that a bee burrowed through his father's throat.
Well, we did. Watch the beginning. Even before I knew what was happening, I saw him grab the back of his neck and fall over. I'm like, that's a bee sting. They didn't even show any other bugs or anything. Like, that's some kind of bug attack.
Why wouldn't he show you the bug?
Because it's in your head. Like when you see the exit wound in his throat, the front of his throat, because he got hit in the back, when you see that, it's more terrifying. And then when you see the bugs later, after the ear, after they bite that ear off and then crawl underground, then you know.
How do you want to do this? Because I'm afraid to go through the movie with you.
Well, the movie itself, first off, was 2 hours long. So that's a problem. Like, that's a problem right there. You gotta rein them in. Second off, I don't remember the rest of the movie, so it wouldn't hurt if you told me something, because
it might hurt me.
What I did see, Brian, what distracted me was, get ready, I saw butts, boobs, bush, and Kyle MacLachlan's weenus.
Did you?
I did. I was looking.
Oh,
and he ran across, when he was running to go hide in the closet because he was hanging out with Isabella Rossellini, who was cray-cray.
Let's go through the movie.
All right. But that's what distracted me. If you're when he runs to the closet, you'll see some Wang. Keep your eyes out for it.
I'm just going to start reading my notes. The picturesque all-American town of Lumberton is overtaken by bugs. Oh, motherfucker. Why did I write that? I don't even believe that.
Bugs. It's the great bug invasion.
Jeffrey Beaumont is home from college because his father has
Been attacked by something.
a medical emergency. They show Jeffrey walking to the hospital, which is an odd scene unless you realize they have to show him walking back.
Yeah.
It's funny to me that that's how simple sometimes it is which is weirder, showing him just walking away from the hospital or showing that he had to walk to the hospital in the first place. And I agree with Lynch's perspective on this because, first of all, he's trying to be a little bit off center anyway. So a scene of him literally just walking across screen with a field is weird enough because you don't really see it. But he's doing it practically because he knows he has to walk back, and you don't want to be like, where's he walking now? Where is this in direction anything? He's established that the hospital is to the left.
So when he cuts back,
When he
walking
cuts back
to the right,
it makes sense.
I gotcha.
I enjoy the simple things like that.
See, whereas when he started driving around a car later,
You don't know
where
where
did
he's
that car
going.
come from?
Exactly.
Well, you're a walking guy.
And he finds an ear in the field, and thus begins the detective career.
Of Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle
Agent
MacLachlan.
Dale Cooper himself.
He takes it to the police,
As one does.
to Detective Williams, who lives near him and knows his father, who has the most Twin Peaks moment in this movie. Well, there's one other one. But there's two moments in this movie that I think are the most Twin Peaks this gets.
What do you consider Twin Peaks?
When I say them, you'll agree.
Okay.
He gives him the bag with the ear in it. He looks in the bag and goes, "Yeah, that's a human ear, all right." that is Twin Peaks to a T.
Who's the actor who plays the police chief?
How would I know that?
I don't know, because you're the knowing guy. You know things. All right, Laura Dern's dad.
Everything that happens in this movie is somewhat Detective Williams' fault. Everything that happens to Jeffrey. Because he lets him way too close to his investigation for way too long. He's out in the fields watching them comb the fields. He's down there with the coroner, talking to the coroner. Why?
I assume it's a small town. Like,
But then he tells him you got to keep this quiet and not investigate this anymore. It's like, you've already lit this fire under him.
no, I don't remember what made Kyle MacLachlan get so excited, or Dale Cooper get so excited to like start investigating this. Like, what lit the fire under his ass?
I don't know that there's any more than I found an ear.
So he found an ear and couldn't let it go.
And he's back in his boring hometown.
Stuck. And then, all right, right. So then somehow he finds out that Isabella Rossellini is in an apartment, and she somehow.
Well, did you want to connect that with the notes I have to get
Yeah,
this
yeah.
thing?
Go ahead.
He meets Sandy, the detective's daughter.
That's
and-
Laura Dern.
And he prods her for information because she overhears her father talking about things. And she knows of a singer named Dorothy Valens that he's been talking about connected to this case. And
that's right.
she knows where she lives. At this moment in the movie, Laura Dern's character is simply an exposition machine to move our only character we care about from point A to point B.
That's right.
That is right.
That's what she does.
Now, female characters generally do better with David Lynch movies than they do in other movies, but early on in Blue Velvet, this is a character with zero agency whatsoever. She is only there to move Kyle MacLachlan from point A to point B.
It's weird. Everyone's kind of got like stilted almost performances too at the beginning. It seems almost like just reading a script.
So, remember when we watched Longlegs and Blair Underwood was stealing the show because he's
Yeah.
not doing that and everyone else is doing that?
Yes.
People in the David Lynch movies, it's tough for them sometimes to figure out what they're supposed to be doing.
What do you mean?
We've talked before, I don't think he cares that much what the actors are doing to the material. And I think that sometimes they're afraid to.
To do anything, so they end up just coming out and reading, and it comes across and
Now, when you watch Laura Dern over the course of working with him 7 times, she gets incredible performances.
okay.
When you see her in this one, she's very unsure, I think, of what to do from scene to scene.
You know what? That's funny. I attributed that to being so young. Like it really seemed like this was a very early role for her. And
Sure, yeah. But she'd been working since a child actor because her father is Bruce Dern.
who's he?
And her mother's someone also. And I feel like I've done it again where I've just... Oh, Bruce Dern's famous.
Is he? I don't remember
Bruce-
him.
Did you ever see Nebraska? That's a great movie from not that long ago.
Nothing great is from Nebraska.
It was a really good movie.
What else has he done?
He was recently in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Who do you play in that one?
He was the old man at the ranch. He's very, very old now.
Does he look like an old, very, very ugly Laura Dern?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, okay. Because Laura Dern's way better looking than him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then I kind of remember him.
Yeah.
He's got a forehead.
He has a forehead. He has some hair on it.
Not much, though.
Not
It's like
much
going
now, no.
backwards. Yeah, okay. I remember him now.
Yeah. He's a really good actor. That most of his best stuff would have been in the 70s, where I'm not watching that.
Oh, yes, because that's olden times.
He says, she lives nearby on the 7th floor of an apartment building of what looks to be a 3-story building. Now, you might think this is a weird Lynchian thing, because even when he's going up the stairs, when you see him going up the back stairs in daylight, it looks like he's 3 floors up.
Yeah.
So maybe they shot on the 3rd floor. I looked at Google Earth and found this apartment building. There are 7 floors in this apartment building. It is just the way he shot it.
Really?
It's strange to me,
That's...
and I don't know if there's a reason for it.
I swear to God, because they keep going back to the stairwell.
Yes,
that
and
he
it's always
walks up
3
and
floors
down
up.
a lot. Yeah, it's 3 flights of stairs.
Yes.
So when they're doing the stairway chase, it's not a very long chase.
But it has to be on purpose, because even the way he shoots the outer part of the building, it looks like there's 3 floors.
Right.
But there's 7. I looked it up. So I don't know if that was just the script supervisor was like, let it go, or I don't know. But he purposely wants it to seem like they're 3 floors up, because he
Okay.
does it repeatedly.
Probably bug related somehow.
Yeah, well, we got farther than I thought. Jeffrey picks Sandy up from high school and wants to break into the singer's apartment. So he dresses as a pest control man. They're doing hijinks.
I know. I was excited.
I was excited about it too. Because he works at his father owns a
Hardware shop?
hardware shop where they have 2 people working because one of them's blind.
Yes.
The other one just follows around and tells him what he's seeing.
It seems like a very good system, and it's worked out well. By all accounts and all what we can see, this is a thriving hardware business in Lumbertown.
That's a Twin Peaks-like idea too.
What? There's a blind person who works there,
And then he has to hire a second person to tell the blind person what he's seeing.
he has like a seeing eye guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So that's where he works. Well, he's stealing pest control stuff. The people
Well, he's
who,
not stealing it. He works there.
the people who work there are kind of like okay with this hijinks too. They seem to be like, all right, you go have fun now.
Yeah. Well, his father owns the place.
Yeah, but still, you can go, where are you taking that poison? And why are you putting on this uniform, sir? We don't agree with you, you spoiled rich kid's child.
Well, only one of them can see him do it.
Oh, that's right. All right, fair enough. And if he doesn't say anything,
If the other one doesn't ask what he's doing, why would he bother telling him?
that's why they say if you
His
see
job
something,
is to tell him what he's seeing.
if you see something, say something. And he didn't, so he should be fired.
His plan is to get in and leave the window open so he can break into it later.
That's a good plan.
That is what thieves do.
And snoop around for clues.
Yeah.
Clues about what? Where that ear came from.
Well, Sandy is supposed to knock on the door after he's in there to distract Dorothy, posing as a Jehovah's Witness. But a weird man comes to the door.
What's this? Oh, yeah. So he was in there. Kyle MacLachlan's in there spraying for bugs. And who showed up at the door? I don't remember. It was a guy.
It was a guy that is one of her, I'm guessing, one of Frank's.
Associates?
Yeah.
Was it the guy who turned out to be a cop?
No.
No, not him. Spoiler alert.
He can't get a window open, but he finds a key to the apartment, which is 10 times better than leaving a window open.
And the key to the apartment was hung in the kitchen underneath the sink.
Yes. As one did in
As
1986.
As one hangs keys in 1986. That is correct. All right, so he steals those keys. Then what did he do?
Jeffrey's license, I saw this, says he's 22, which explains how he's able to buy Heineken's while visiting the club to watch Dorothy sing. And the Heineken bit comes back later twice.
Yeah, Heineken, did David Lynch really like Heineken? Or was there some kind of, that's the only money they got was advertising Heineken?
Well, I don't think so, because they shit on Heineken later. That is the most famous part of the Heineken callback. When Frank is taking him around town and says, what do you drink? He's like, I like a Heineken. It's like, Heineken sucks. Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah, but that's just to show that he's the bad guy, right?
Well, no.
Frank's a bad guy. We've established that Heineken is a good beer. Somebody ordered a Bud in front of him, and he was like, king of beers, like all dismissively, like, well, this is what you got to deal with these uncultured swine here in Lumberville.
Well, the Heineken comes back a second time, too.
Yeah, I don't remember how, though.
Because he's supposed to be, when they break into her apartment, he's supposed to be listening for Sandy to honk the horn 4 times. But he has to piss because he drank too many Heinekens.
That's right.
And it's a loud flush.
In the middle of his break-in and his search for clues, he decides time to pee.
At this point, Sandy, Laura Dern, still nothing but an agent to get Jeffrey Beaumont from where he has to be. And the most key thing that happens to Jeffrey Beaumont in this movie that kicks off this whole problem that he's going to have this for the next few days is that he has to pee because he drank too many Heinekens.
That, and he doesn't know when to stop looking at stuff. He's got a bump of curiosity, that Dale Cooper.
It's going to lead him to the FBI.
It will.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how Veronica Mars got there in that show that they never made, but they showed me 10 minutes of it one time. And it makes sense. All right.
So he hides in the closet watching Dorothy undress.
Yeah. See, this is where I think I see butt for the first time. It was the first butt.
Well, keep us updated.
I will. I'll try to remember. There was a lot of nudity in this movie.
Yeah. That's the one thing at the time people didn't want to touch it because it was too sexually violent.
Oh, it was crazy sexually violent.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Frank's a bad man.
Well, he's about to enter the scene because Dorothy finds Jeffrey in the closet, makes him strip at knife point.
Oh, yeah. This is after Frank left, right?
This is before Frank got there.
Oh, this is before Frank gets there. Right.
Before things get too far, because she's going to do some business with young Jeffrey in the closet. She's all kinds of messed up.
She's all kinds of. She's got fucking trauma responses coming out of every which way. But she does make him get naked.
Frank Booth arrives 43 minutes into the movie to sexually assault Dorothy, where Jeffrey watches from the closet.
Yeah, but that's when you see his wang. When he runs into the closet, if you look, you see it flop across the screen.
Oh, it flops. Good for him. Good for him. That was the prequel to It Follows.
Okay,
It flops.
it flops. I see. It flops. It follows, and then I guess it sleeps.
Frank Booth is a very memorable villain
Who is
in
he?
cinema.
I wish people could see your face.
I feel like I've been set up or something. Is there a candid camera going on in
I
here?
wish.
Just to see how long I can keep going straight forward with you changing the tracks in front of me.
You know that thing where you're supposed to
Ben
push
Grimm? Yeah, you like it.
hoisted
No,
by
you
my
liked it.
own
You liked it a lot, actually.
That thing where my kids were asking me where there's a train track and it splits and there's one person tied to one of the tracks and there's 5 people tied to the other one, and which one do you choose?
No, that's not exactly right. You're not choosing. You know that it's going to run over the 5 people, and
Yeah.
you have the choice to save the 5 people by killing one.
Okay.
But you're not. It's not going to do nothing until you activate it. It's going to happen, and you can decide to sacrifice one to save the many.
Okay. Which one would you do?
I wouldn't do anything.
You just let her run over the 5 people?
Sure.
I'm gonna turn it around and come back down the other track and pick up the spare.
Why am I out here? Why am I alone in this train station?
I don't know. You woke up. I know. You were walking through a field one day and you found an ear.
Well, the question is about some of it's the needs of the one, needs of the many, you get all that. But it's really about, like, what would you be able to live with? Would you be able to walk away and live with the fact that you had no say in this because it wasn't your doing and it wasn't anything to do with you? Or could you live with the fact that you purposely caused the death of a human being? The question is, do you think you're purposely causing the death of the 5? Which I don't. So I would just walk away.
I couldn't live with not picking up the spare. You got to get that last one. Otherwise, what's the point? You ever been bowling? I want that turkey. Give me that turkey.
We're in Buffalo, Pete. Of course I've been bowling.
I haven't been bowling in a long time.
Me neither.
All right. Go Buffalo. Anyway, why do you keep distracting us? We're like 30 hours into this podcast and we're not even anywhere near the plot yet.
Frank Booth is a very memorable villain in cinema. He is crazy.
Dennis Hopper, does he ever play anything passably normal?
The same year, he's nominated for an Oscar for playing assistant basketball coach in Hoosiers.
I never saw Hoosiers.
Hoosiers is good. He was the town drunk. He gets cleaned up to try to help the team, and it's kind of a feel-good thing, which is funny because at the same time he's doing Lefty in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and Frank Booth in Blue Velvet.
Boy. Is it ever said what he is? He's some kind of gangster in this small town.
Yep.
And he huffs on
This is the coolest.
some kind of gas mask to make himself either get aroused or crazier.
Well, there's a split personality going on.
And he's got mommy issues.
Well, no, I think he
No?
is mommy. and
What?
the baby when he's having those sexual assault happening.
Yeah, because
He's
just
switching sides.
right. He starts attacking her, and then he's like, "Oh, mommy, I'm hungry,"
Yeah.
or whatever. Oh, mommy. Then I don't know. It was weird. It was really weird.
I'm sorry, he's daddy and the baby. So
Daddy and
she's
the baby.
mommy. So he switches from the abusive father to the needy baby.
Yeah, he does, and that messes her up too because she's got
This whole scene is messed up.
everything is all messed up.
And Jeffrey Beaumont is just checking it out from the closet.
Naked, by the way.
Not a time to intervene or join.
No, well, to be fair, I don't know. Dennis Hopper was really crazy.
Well, Dennis Hopper was not the first choice to play this role.
No,
I don't remember who it was. I know Harry Dean Stanton, they wanted him for it, but he was like, don't like the sexual violence. This happened for a couple actors. And I don't know how he got the script, but Dennis Hopper contacted David Lynch, who I don't think he knew, and was like, I have to play this role. I understand this character, which is like, to get away from my set. But then he comes in and he kills it, so I guess he did understand it. And not on the screen a ton, but makes use of every second he's out there.
you know what?
Can't take your eyes off him.
He wasn't on screen very often. A lot of it was Dale Cooper trying to figure shit out and having his weird. So then
And being bad at it.
yeah, he was not. He's not a detective yet. He's a college kid.
And stringing a high school girl along who's cheating on her boyfriend.
Oh yeah, that was the
As
other.
he's trying to get with
He
Dorothy.
does end up. He ends up sleeping with this clearly raped, traumatized woman who's suffering all sorts of abuse.
And Sandy finds out. And what's her reaction? To be angry for about an hour and then say, I forgive you, I love you. And it's-
Yeah, did she show up or something? And she's like, oh, okay, I never mind. Wait, she showed up naked, right? That's how Sandy meets her. She shows up naked because she finally escapes, and she's just all sorts of insane. And Cooper goes and says, get into the car, come on. And that's when Sandy's like, oh, I see.
Well, we're skipping a lot.
I forgive you now.
Despite being bad at investigating, Jeffrey does figure out eventually that Dorothy's husband and son have been taken by Frank. And now she is stuck in this sexual blackmail.
Yeah, we never figured out why they were taken, right? Or what the reasoning was.
I'm guessing it was about the sexual blackmail.
I think he just wanted her to go sing that song in the nightclub and then the sexual blackmail stuff. The sex stuff.
He does love the song Blue Velvet. And he
That
was
was-
talking about Blue Velvet.
Was that something? Because I didn't catch that.
That's the song.
It's the song. I didn't hear any of the words. Because again, when people sing at me, I tend to just kind of go blank and stop paying attention. Probably having a nice little dream in my head. But I don't know what the words were, so I don't know if that's relevant to the plot. I assume it's not.
I don't know.
All right.
Well, Jeffrey follows Frank and eventually gets captured by Frank after sleeping with Dorothy. Because Jeffrey's stupid. He's a stupid person.
Was he just hanging around the apartment when Frank came over? I feel like that's what happened. Frank was like, who's this guy?
Yeah, Frank just came for his daily check-in with mommy. And there's a guy there, and he takes him with him on a road trip to see Dean Stockwell singing "In Dreams,"
Yeah. It was
a scene that doesn't need to be in this movie in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, because it's just a bunch of weirdness.
It's a great scene. Now there is a purpose to the scene.
Wait.
Her husband and her son are
Oh,
there.
yeah, they're
so
trapped
she's getting
there.
to see him, but you don't even watch that.
No, that's off camera.
It's why this scene is so fucking weird to me, because it is relevant to the plot, but that's not the part he's showing you.
right. It's just you're left with the weirdness that is the like living room or the living space of this safe house that they've got, or sex house or whatever the fuck it was. It was a weird place.
Well, when they're leaving, Frank Booth says something that I never realized came from this, because I always think of it from Clerks. I'll fuck anything that moves.
I don't remember that in Clerks.
That's what are you talking about? You don't remember it from Clerks?
I
You've
don't.
seen Clerks?
In a long time
It's like
ago.
that's like when Jay is introduced on screen.
Oh, okay.
It cuts to them outside, and he's just like, "I'll fuck anything that moves." And I was like, I didn't realize until this viewing that it's like, holy shit, that is Frank Booth in Blue Velvet. I didn't realize he was doing a reference.
Me neither. And I still don't because I don't remember that part of Clerks, but
Well, I'm sure at this moment you don't remember that part of Blue Velvet either.
I really don't. But that sounds like him. That sounds a lot like how Dennis Hopper was, so I'll buy it from you.
Jeffrey stands up to Frank and gets beaten unconscious. Don't know why they didn't kill him. Seems like they don't have problems with murders.
Yeah, they seem to be wanting to take him around on a tour of stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's just a weird night of finding out about the darkness that's going on in the city. Before he knocks him unconscious, though, Frank applies lipstick and starts making out with Jeffrey.
Oh, yeah. Look,
He's a one-of-a-kind character.
Nobody knows why bugs do the way they do.
He finds out that one of Frank's associates is a cop.
Yep.
So he takes that information to Sandy's dad.
Who is his partner?
But he hasn't seen him in an hour.
No.
Jeffrey and Sandy go to a party. Why?
Hey, before you go there, when he finds out that Laura Dern's dad, Williams, is that his name?
Yep.
When he finds out that Williams's partner is the bad guy,
Yeah.
and then he goes and tells Williams, did you think that Williams was in on it?
No.
And I did. See, I thought that. I'm like, why are you telling him, Cooper? This guy's a bad guy too. Because the guy says, Williams says, like, well, who else did you tell about this?
I didn't think that because Sandy talked about overhearing her dad working on the case. Now, I guess because he tells Jeffrey to drop it, you could maybe make that assumption. But I think they give it away because Sandy is overhearing actual things about the case. So he's actually doing an investigation into it.
Okay. Yeah, but maybe he's doing it for his own. I don't know. Maybe she overheard and thought he was doing investigations for the case.
I guess.
But
I never suspected him.
okay, well, I did. I thought that they were all bad.
Well-
I didn't know how I was going to get out of it.
Jeffrey and Sandy go to a party, and they dance to a weird song that is the most Twin Peaks moment in Blue Velvet. It is a song straight out of Twin Peaks. It is maybe the moment that created Twin Peaks, to be honest with you.
I don't even remember this part.
Of course you don't. But there's no point. I'm not stopping to do this every time you don't remember something from a movie.
All right.
This whole podcast would just be us stopping and rewatching the movie.
All right, so she sings the song. Or
So
they
for
dance to a
anybody
song.
else, there's a scene in Blue Velvet that is, I think, the catalyst for what the feel of Twin Peaks becomes, and it's when they're at this high school party dancing to this weird song.
All right.
Because that is the feel of Twin Peaks. The most I've ever seen something that isn't Twin Peaks be Twin Peaks. And they're being followed, and he thinks it, when they leave the party, and he thinks it's Frank. But it's Mike, Sandy's boyfriend, who we've heard about the whole movie and never considered a threat.
We saw him standing there glowering one time when she got in the car with Cooper.
It's true. And he's not really a threat, because as he's about to try to fight Jeffrey Beaumont, a naked Dorothy Valens appears.
Yeah, that's where Laura Dern says, oh, okay, I see it now.
Well, she literally calls Jeffrey my secret love in front of her in case Laura Dern is slow on the uptake. Which she might be because, again, she's had nothing to do this whole movie except help Jeffrey from point A to point B.
No, and aside from saying every once in a while, like, well, I think this is a bad idea, she goes along with it.
She goes along with it the entire way. He's stringing her along to use her
That's right.
because he wants to be with Dorothy.
I was very confused.
And when she finds out about it, she's like, I'm so mad, and she cries. He throws him out of the house. And then, like, an hour later is like, I forgive you, I love you, and I'll help you. Because I'm going to tell my dad to go raid the Frank's place.
Like, hang out, his hideout.
No,
I don't even know if it was an hour. It seemed very quick. Just the acceptance and then right, I see what's going on here. I don't remember. I had an idea, but it left my head.
Jeffrey finds Dorothy. Jeffrey finds Dorothy's husband dead and the missing ear. So he solved the. At this point, he solved his mystery. He should have left.
Yeah, because Jeff goes back to Dorothy's apartment,
Yes.
and that's where he finds a guy tied up with no ear. And he finds that crooked cop.
He's dying in the most weird way, just standing there bleeding.
Was he shot in the head?
Shot in the ear or something?
Yeah, so it probably had just catastrophic brain damage, but he hadn't quite dropped.
He hasn't dropped yet. He's just standing there dying. Not sitting, he's just standing there staring off in the distance.
Leaking blood.
At this point, I really wondered if Jeffrey, who has not really had an active role in any point of the story, was just going to be a bystander for the finale as well. Because it would have been an interesting way to do it, because he's not doing things.
No.
He's observing things.
He
He's
hides
observing from the closet. He's observing from the back of the car. He's observing. Even when Dorothy gets to see her husband at Ben's house, at Dean Stockwell's house, he's not watching that. He's observing Dean Stockwell. So I wondered, is he going to go the whole way with this movie without giving any...
Did he do anything?
He
'Cause
did.
Now
He
I don't
shot
think
Frank.
he did. Oh, that's right. Where was he, though?
He's hiding in his creeper closet.
Of course he was.
He's got the yellow man's gun, the cop's gun,
Yep, he took it from the cop who was just standing there.
and Frank figures out he's in the closet, goes open the door, gets blown away. And I was like, I wonder if I think it might have been the wrong choice to have him do it, Jeffrey, because he doesn't really do things in this movie.
Well, maybe that is showing his triumph over the bugs, because he fights the evil. He defeats the evil in that moment because he hasn't taken an active role at all yet.
Sandy and her father, who is not a bad guy,
I know. I thought he was.
arrive, and the story flashes forward. Dorothy has her son back. Jeffrey and Sandy are still together. I don't know why. And the Robins have returned, and all is bright in the world again.
That's right.
And we
The
talked
robot
about this
Robin.
enough.
Who were the two people who were in the backyard with Cooper at the end? They were just like two guys back there. Because I don't remember seeing them anywhere else in the movie.
I don't know.
Okay. Because they were like, hey there, guy. And he's like, hey there, everything good? And they're like, yup. I thought they were the workers from the factory or from his dad's hardware store, but they weren't. So I don't know who they were.
I think this movie is very Hitchcock, which you don't know what that means because you've said before you don't watch any Hitchcock movies.
I saw... No, you're right. I don't watch Hitchcock movies. I saw Psycho.
This one, Psycho's the least Hitchcock-like Hitchcock movie.
I saw The Birds.
Huh.
I saw the one where the plane chases the guy.
Did you see?
No, I just saw that
Yeah,
plane
you saw the clip from North by Northwest?
No, I saw the poster.
No.
But I saw it. I didn't just watch it, Brian. I saw it.
And the movie ends with a pseudo-happy ending, although I have questions about whether or not it's actually a happy ending. I think his father's recovered, too. It's like the perfect happy ending for everybody.
they? I
think so. Except for Dorothy losing her husband, but she gets her son back. So
yeah, they glossed over that. Well,
she seems very happy in the end.
do we think that her husband had some kind of dealings with Frank?
I'm sure that he did get in bad with Frank, sure.
So that's what happened. He took them hostage.
I think this is more like Lynch doing a Hitchcock movie, because Lynch loved Rear Window.
Okay.
He's talked about that one. And I think this has some, the everyman in over his head investigating something. This is a staple of some Hitchcock thrillers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of investigating in Hitchcock things. It's suspense.
Yeah. And I think that this is the 80s sexually violent version of a Hitchcock movie done by somebody who has weird interests
Okay.
and wants to expose what he thinks of society, that all this, and this is again the 80s, we talk about this every time we go to the 80s, literally and figuratively, that this is the Reagan's America, this is the peak Reagan's America, 86, and the shining city on the hill, and he's like, well, look all the shit underneath it, and I think that there's no mistaking that is the point.
And it is pretty explicit and traumatic watching these assaults on her, these rapes, and it's not a happy feeling when you're watching these things. You're like,
The movie got really good reviews, but the thing that the reviewers did not like was the way that Dorothy is handled in this movie. Now, Isabella Rossellini had the opposite opinion on it. She thought it was a fascinating character, fascinating movie. She didn't feel that it was crossing lines at all. She thought it was, horrible shit happens.
Yeah.
And it's a very raw way to look at it, especially in 86 to do it.
Yeah.
And some people just weren't ready for it. I mean, it's not a thing you should ever be ready for, but you know what I mean, how movies can do stuff. And she's always said that she didn't feel exploited or anything with the movie at all.
okay. It was a great...
Everybody's great.
Great performances across the board.
This time around, it really hit me that like Laura Dern's character has zero things going on that are her own.
At any point, does she do anything?
No, she's just supposed to get Jeffrey. If she's not there, then nobody calls to take out Frank's place. And if she's not there, then nobody tells Jeffrey who Dorothy Valance is. That's the entire purpose.
Yeah, aside from the last part where he shoots Frank, he really doesn't take action. Well, at least any kind of discernibly noticeable action that progresses the storyline.
He punches Frank, but it doesn't do anything for the story or the investigation. He just does it to he's not like the father in Speak No Evil. He actually is not going to take it, which is good. But
yes,
to be the person that gets the ultimate ending of Frank Booth, it's weird because he doesn't impede or anything is Frank the entire time, and I think he's just happy watching from his closet.
He does have strong creeper vibes. He just everywhere. He's just kind of a voyeur, looking through the windows.
Which is why I don't know I like him taking the active role in the end, because his role in this movie is to be a voyeur.
Well, is it supposed to mean something then if he does take an active role at the end?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't want your life, but I also don't think that David Lynch plans these things out. Perhaps he wasn't going to get shot in the script, and then Kyle MacLachlan was, "Guy, shoot him."
No, I
Who
think the
knows?
script was around for a while and people didn't want it because of the sexual violence stuff. And he's like, I think this is why the Dune thing is such a good moment for Lynch's career, even though it's a failure. Studios don't want the script. He made Elephant Man, studio picture, giant hit. Then he makes Dune. He's kind of a studio guy. He's getting big properties. And that flopped, and the studio's like, we don't want you. And he's like, well, I don't fucking want to be with you either. He's like, I'm going to go back to the script, and I'm going to make it the way I want to make it. And it's like a relaunch of his career, which is funny because he just, a few years earlier, had
started his career.
8 Academy Award nominations. So it's weird to say it's a relaunch, but Dune was a real blight on that part of his career.
It is a weird one to watch.
I love it.
I
It's the most
I might-
unique.
Trying to think of something.
Well, what did you think of Blue Velvet? Which is much more straightforward than Eraserhead,
I
even though you seem to have missed it completely.
didn't. I again, 2 hours long, strike against.
Yeah.
Great acting, strike 4. Bringing back the bugs and making the birds win, that's a plus. I think I liked Eraserhead and Dune better. This is down on my list.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like the straightforward. It was boring to me at parts. I just sat there probably because too much singing. How many times do I got to listen to her sing Blue Velvet?
2.
Yeah, that's too many.
The answer's 2. It's a short song. too.
Too long for me. Too many twos. That's what I saw. Surprised she wasn't wearing a tutu.
She didn't wear much of anything for most of the movie.
No, like I said, it hit the 3 B's and 1 D.
No, just because sometimes I like to bring up Siskel and Ebert to shit on there.
Does anybody, do you think, remember who Siskel and Ebert were
Yes.
anymore? Are there any new critics that like people know? Because they were kind of famous as being the thumbs up guys.
Yeah, they're the most famous. People still know them. That's why I'm bringing it up.
But I barely know them.
Roger Ebert had this. Roger Ebert's a weird guy. Not only have we talked about, it's usually about Ebert. I never really have anything to say about Siskel. But Ebert, hated horror movies. Didn't understand them at all. I don't think he understood a lot of movies. We've been over this. But there might be a future episode we talk about it a little bit. But he also had this weird thing where if he liked an actress, he would look past how bad the movie is.
Okay,
Like Angelina Jolie never made a bad movie because she's hot. And remember, he didn't like Blue Velvet because they made Isabella Rossellini look so bad in it. This is the most famous film critic of his time.
They made her look bad?
He thought they made her look horrible.
Like physically, her
Yeah.
appearance? The kidnapped, blackmailed, strung out.
I don't know how many times I got to tell you, I don't think he understood movies. It's not my mission in life to point out to people that he was a terrible movie reviewer, but boy, he was a very terrible movie reviewer.
Sure comes up a lot.
Well, I think when you're trying to be the populist reviewer, it's not going to work out. You're not going to be good at it. Like this is something that I wrestle with because I write reviews, and I've never made a movie. I've never written a movie. Well, I've written a movie, but you know what I mean. We've never made a movie, and it's always hard to be like, put yourself in the shoes of like, well, I don't know how they did this. How critical can I be of something if it's not for me? Which is kind of the point of the site, to look for the positives in things. I think there's never been a guy like Roger Ebert and he did actually write a movie, Beyond the Valley of the Dollar or some shit.
Wait, that was the guy who did the naked movies? What the hell was his name? It was somebody in the 70s, big on these.
Yeah.
Ken Barnes would make me watch these with him.
Yeah. So he actually did write a movie, but he was not a part of the inside of the Hollywood system. So I always think about him, and it's like, you're trying to appeal to the most people possible, which is the wrong way to be a film reviewer, first of all. And secondly, how can you critique something like David Lynch movies when you are the farthest away in what you're trying to do from what David Lynch is trying to do? Like, is that ever going to work? Are you ever going to watch it and be like, yes, I think the whole family will love it? Like, what's the fucking point of you even reviewing his movies? Is where I've kind of ended up after going on a deep dive through his David Lynch reviews.
All right, that's weird. Because I didn't read reviews very much because I don't care what other people have to say about movies.
No, but especially in that time, they were authoritative.
Oh, yeah, it was different then. You only had a couple of sources, and
A 2 thumbs up on your poster, your movie was going to make some money.
that's right. It was so weird to have these people being the arbiters of what was good and
It was.
the gatekeepers of what we
That's
can
exactly
see.
what it is, too. And then, like, especially with Ebert, his own personal weird shit got in there way too much, and his own biases. I try to restrict, and Roger Ebert was fucking rich as shit from doing this. I make like $0 doing this, and I strip away all my biases, and I approach it from purely what they're trying to do and how well it's
In the
succeeding
film,
at it.
yeah.
And like this guy, maybe I'm just doing it wrong.
Well, that's why I don't do reviews.
My favorite Siskel and Ebert moment of all time was Free Willy 3 review, where Siskel,
Free Willy 3?
Free Willy 3, and Gene Siskel said, "It's the best one yet. Thumbs down." And Ebert said, "You know they're just going to clip the first part of that and put that on the trailer."
Did they?
I think they probably did. But it's the best one yet. Thumbs down. My favorite moment.
That's right. Because you'd have the dots. The best one yet. ... Close parenthesis.
I'm surprised you didn't like this as much. I thought this would be more up your alley. It was,
Really? More than Eraserhead? Because
Yeah.
Eraserhead's a bunch of weird shit. Dune is a bunch of
You gotta
weird
remember,
shit.
I don't like Eraserhead that much.
Yeah, if I were going to go back and watch of the David Lynch movies I've seen, it's probably going to be Dune. But then
Me too.
Eraserhead.
Me too, but hold on. I also think Dune's the worst of his movies, like that I like. But of course I'm going to watch that one first. It's completely fucking insane.
Right. Well, of the 3 movies I've seen, I'm going to go Dune, Eraserhead, because it's also pretty goddamn insane. It's a little slow, but it's short, so I can deal with that. Whereas this, it's fine, and I like how Lynch gives you that kind of duality of there's the surface level, everything is picturesque. Like this is the dream.
Oh, the movie starts looking like a colorized version of the Donna Reed show.
Yes, yeah, that's right. It does. That's the vibe. That's that Twin Peaks vibe. But then the underneath and just how fucking weird it is. Like I dig that about Lynch a lot because it's weird. Even the whole plot is weird. Everything that happens is
Well, we've seen him look at the nightmare worlds in Industrial City in Eraserhead.
yeah. Are we going with just the movies I've seen? Or are we going to go all
I'm
over?
just getting up to Blue Velvet.
Okay.
You don't have to wait that long. It's 4 movies. We've seen him do it in the Industrial City of Philadelphia, theoretically, in Eraserhead. Then we've seen him do it in Victorian England in Elephant Man. Then we've seen whatever the fuck Dune is, which again, I remove it from his conversation because it's not his story.
No.
He's adapting someone else's work. So,
What's-
but then we've seen him do it in this picturesque town, all-American town of Lumberton. And next we're going to see him do it in, well, I guess Wild at Heart's next. But we're going to watch him do it in a town called Twin Peaks.
Oh, Twin Peaks is the next
Yes.
one? Okay.
The northwestern.
This is very much going to be this because I've seen the show Twin Peaks. This is very much that. There's all the weirdness. That's what I enjoyed about Twin Peaks. It's like, oh, it's a straightforward investigation, right? But there's so much weird shit happening, and it gets weirder and weirder. And I don't believe there is a resolution. It is just left because it ended.
In
Right?
Blue Velvet.
No, not Blue Velvet in Twin Peaks.
How would you know you haven't seen The Return?
I haven't seen The Return.
You haven't seen Fire Walk with Me. You've seen 9 episodes of season 1 and maybe some of season 2.
Right, so it didn't have an ending. It just kind of stopped right in the middle of their story.
I think it does have an ending. We will get into it one day when we get to The Return somehow. I don't know how we're going to do that.
Right.
But I think it does have a definitive ending, and I think it's horrifying.
Okay, but you like Blue Velvet.
I love Blue Velvet.
Really more than the other movies that Lynch has that I haven't seen yet. Like, where does it rank in your list making brain? Third. What are the first 2?
Fire Walk with Me is my favorite movie. I know that's still somewhat unpopular opinion.
Okay,
And Mulholland Drive.
is that the one I saw 30 seconds of?
Yep.
That's a good one.
And then this one. And then Lost Highway. Which I think people do like Lost Highway, but Lost Highway is a weird one. I mean, they're all a little weird, but this is the least weird of the 3 we have left.
Yeah, because it was straightforward. But yeah, for me, I guess I need more of the weirdness. More. I'm hoping that Lynch gets into it later because he definitely starts to hit it with
Lost
Twin Peaks.
Highway's nuts.
Okay, cool.
Mulholland Drive has it too. It's a different kind of nuts. And Fire Walk with Me is completely fucking batshit insane, and in ways that are unexplainable. Even though I've spent many years trying to explain them.
There's something about Lynch, though. It's not like he's just throwing a bunch of weird shit at the wall. Like, here, now this scene happens. Now this scene. Like, just...
He's trying to get a feeling out of the scene.
Yeah.
And then take that feeling and move it on with the story.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Because it's just a vibe throughout.
Maybe I understand why he didn't like this one as much, because he doesn't do that as much in this one.
What do you mean?
He's not doing that as much in this one as he does in, like, Mulholland Drive or Twin Peaks, even. It's not I'm going to do weird stuff so you get a thing out of the scene. There's a straightforward narrative here that propels it, not the feeling of it, just the story of it. Like there's a linear story here to follow. No characters are changing who they are into someone else.
See,
no dream logic. There's no dream logic in this movie. The only thing about dreams is the Robins. That's the only thing that comes up about dreams.
Right, and it's not even, it's just a dream that she had.
Yes.
It's not like a dream made reality.
But it is important to the
Unless you want to say the dream was made reality, and that's why the bird was robotic, because...
Well, I'm surprised. I thought you would love this one.
Interesting.
I'm a little bummed, honestly.
No, it's...
But like all of his movies, not going to see another one like this on the next 3 weeks either, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
So if this wasn't your speed, don't worry about it. Next one, completely different. That's going to be true every time we do this. For as much as he's pinned down as having a Lynchian style, none of these movies are similar.
I think that's the style, though. The Lynchian style is, there's usually a duality somewhere in there of some sort, and it's about the underside, like the good v bad. Like that's a lot of his movies. It's from what I'm very limited in what I've seen, but it seems as if that's always a central theme in his movies. It may not be obvious, but there's always good versus evil happening.
Yeah.
That is my thought before I see the rest of these movies, at least from what I have seen so far.
Seems pretty true.
That is a David Lynch movie, a good versus evil story. A tale as old as time.
No, we stayed mostly on topic this episode.
Ooh.
So before we go, I have written down here, can Vin Diesel lift Mjolnir?
Can Vin Diesel lift Mjolnir?
I'm not talking about one of his characters. I'm talking about Vin Diesel.
I don't know. What has he done? I don't ever hear about him getting in trouble.
I know he's about family.
No, that's a character.
You don't know that. I know he's got his eyes shined.
What do you know? What do you know about Vin Diesel? I know he only knows 3 words.
Not for me.
I was thinking I am Groot, but not for me should be what Groot says from now on.
I know he's a tree.
I know he's a tree. Okay. Can he lift Mjolnir? I don't know.
The answer is yes, because it would be in his contract.
Oh, is that what? Is he with the guy who has that
You
fight?
ask me this every time. I can't even use the same joke over and over with you because every time you're like, "Oh, is that him?"
I can't
every time
because I thought that like everybody on that set had.
They do, but it's something that he's known for.
I didn't.
I used this joke 4 times, and every time it's like a surprise to you because it's like, "Oh, is that him?"
So that should make you happy to be telling me jokes. It's not like my family were like, "You said that 10 minutes ago. We heard that one, Dad. We know that one."
It makes me slightly amused, but also it's impossible for me to build anything on that joke because I always have to reset it back to 1.
Yeah, start over and then immediately tell me the next part. What's the next part of that joke? Just say it again. I bet you I'll laugh because I'll get the reference. Go ahead.
It'd be in his contract.
Oh, man. That guy really, really doesn't like to lose on screen.
All right, we're going to go for this week.
Oh, no, we're not. What's that sound? This is the sound of Nick Cage news and end credits, and I'm on the wrong page. Ooh, what do we got? All right, real quick. 2 hours, exclamation point. There was a dog named Spanky. No, I'm sorry, Sparky. I read my notes wrong. I don't even remember a dog, but his name was not Spanky.
I don't remember a dog, and you can't read your own writing.
And there was, and so far I'm a Lynch fan, and you know what? I've just changed my vote to I enjoyed this movie because there's a best boy. This is the second movie I've seen that David Lynch has done that has a best boy. Joe Maxwell, good job. Taking a break from all that coffee. And what was my Nick Cage news? Nick Cage. What did he do? Oh, okay. Here you go. Ready? So, one time, you know how I've told you before that Nick Cage has animals like snakes who taught him about Ghost Rider and...
Oh, that's him?
Yeah, it is. So you remember. Anyway, so he has a cat too.
Why do you never get tripped up when I do your bullshit?
He has a cat. And one time, he was in his apartment and hanging out with his cat, and his cat was like kind of like like nodding at the fridge and rubbing against it and like kind of telling him like, "Hey man, go do those mushrooms you got in the fridge." So he listened to his cat and he did the mushrooms, and then he and his cat formed a brotherhood at that moment.
What's the cat's name?
I don't have that information.
Nick News.
All the freshest.
Next week, we will be returning to the town of Twin Peaks for a prequel that nobody wanted.
Okay. Now, real quick, are there bugs in any other David Lynch movies?
I'm sure that there are.
That one scene you told me about, it's famous in some other movie.
That's not a movie, but I'm sure that there are.
Okay. All right.
Even if they're not intentionally there, you know that they're just under the surface.
All right. Well, I'm going to be keeping an eye out as we go through this David Lynch month.
Tried to end this podcast 5 times now. Watch along on Twin Peaks Fire Walk with me next week.
You told.
What?
I'm not supposed to know.
What?
I told you I don't want to know what we have
Do
to
you
watch.
think you're not supposed to know what we're doing on the podcast?
Yes, that's how I like to go in. I'm like,
Oh my
I want to
God.
sit down.
We're not doing that today.
And you say, have you, so we're talking about this movie. And I'll be like, oh shit, I didn't see that one. And then you can tell me about it and I'll guess.
When I got here today, the first thing he said was, I don't remember the thing we're doing, so don't tell me what we're doing. And I was like, how is this helpful in any way to forming a podcast? But I haven't told him yet. But it's not this. We're not doing that today.
Ooh, okay. So I'm not watching Twin Peaks later today.
No.
All right. I'm excited. All right. Come back next week and I won't know what movie I've seen.
A movie that I discovered at the
Twin
age
Peaks?
of 15 before I ever saw Twin Peaks because I was at the local Blockbuster about 4 blocks away looking for boobs. I saw a pretty girl on the cover and it changed my life forever.
Do you know why I watched the Twin Peaks Firewalk with me?
Yeah.
Because it starts with a naked dead lady. Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, boobs. Maybe they'll show her alive and I'll see living boobs. That's why I watched it too. Oh. I didn't make it that far because I remember it took a while for boobs, so I think I turned the channel.
Didn't understand one thing happening in the movie. Because never even seen Twin Peaks, so I couldn't even understand that part. And it changed me forever because I didn't understand any of it. I thought about it forever. So we'll see you next week to talk through Twin Peaks Fire Walk with me, my favorite David Lynch movie that I don't think most people liked until recently, and you're all bandwagoners.
And I will let you know how many boobs there are.
Oh, you're going to count them?
I'm going to count them.
I like to count them.
3.
All right. We'll see you next week.